Just like every season, no matter how you finish, we all have to turn the page. Today is our page-turning moment as we say goodbye to 2030, championship ring in hand, and move on to 2031. Before we go on, let's just check out some postseason stats. I don't believe we did that last time. Here's everyone finished up. Adael Amador. Jordan Thompson, we moved up to the number one spot in the lineup. He kept the 300 average throughout. He was fantastic. Amador ended up coming on late, which is exactly what we needed towards the end of the NLCS, and then carry that over to the World Series. Nolan Jones, obviously World Series MVP. He was stellar. Jazz Chisholm, power addict. He ended up being your NLCS MVP. Tovar, probably the MVP of everything. I mean, really hot start against Cincinnati. Just kept it moving, kept it going, had huge moments. Obviously, the walk-off to win the World Series is something that every person dreams of, and only a few have ever conquered and able to stamp themselves as that. Tommy Domine started off hot, slowed down a lot, did have some big games in the World Series against his former team. Nolan Gorman, he had a moment every once in a while. Overall, wasn't too fantastic. But again, a couple bombs, did what he needed to do. Drew Romo threw a couple guys out in that World Series, which is huge. Again, he's a defender. He is what he is. Gave us a home run, gave us some good hits. And then Stephen Kwan, towards the end of the lineup, we kind of flip-flopped him and Thompson. They did all right. If we check on the pitching rotation here, the final stats. Bobby White ended up being just an absolute stud for us. Rafael Parra, we threw him to the Wolves a couple of times. J.J. Rose, Bud Leonard, and James Mora had their ups, had their downs overall. We just had Bobby White just be that consistent force, and that is all we needed. Berea ended up not giving up a run in 5 innings. Marco Garcia, again, hit or miss, came in relief. Had some innings where it just looked bad, but then he kind of recorrected himself. Bo Brisky, 14 strikeouts in 12 and 2/3, and he's got 2 wins. Ryan Helsley, shut down, give that 1 home run, but 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. Adbert Alzolay, kind of our de facto closer when the game was out of hand. Riley Pint got in there a little bit. Gregory Santos, he did well in that setup role, and then Roger Calderon. Other than that, 1 home run he gave up towards the end there. He was borderline perfect, the Marlboro Man. Let's check on, before we get into the everything going on, let's check on the team and what our thoughts are, what our plans will be. We have some things to go over. Nolan Jones, his contract is up. Well, let's just kind of go through the pitching rotation, right? Contract-wise, most of these guys, they are good to go. They're not even in arbitration yet for some of them. They're on deals. Our pitch rotation, we don't have to add anything to. It's going to be another race between Parra and Garcia. Who gets that final spot? Maybe one of these guys gets traded. The rest of our guys, Barrera, he has 1 more year of team control before he starts making real money. So we might keep him around just on the cheap. And then guys like Fernando Benitez, Henry Manuel, they're close. Ken Yamazaki, I definitely would give him 1 or 2 more years, just 18 years old. Bernardo Caruso, same thing. Christopher Sutton, kind of same boat. So no one's really threatening yet. We do have guys like David Moore, Vinny Cole, and Roger Colon that we are very excited for. But we're in this nice little sweet spot where everyone, like Henry Manuel, is probably the only guy threatening to join into this rotation. So we have our same 7 guys that we believe can be good. We'll see how that works. For these guys, a lot of these relievers, their contracts are up. Most of them, and we really go scrolling through, a good amount of them are. So what does that mean? Well, it's going to be a new revamped bullpen. Look, we have some guys under team control. We did have our first round draft pick last year is going to be here as well in this mix. We'll definitely go out and get 1 or 2 guys, maybe keep or hold on to 1 or 2 of these guys. We did get the budget opened up. We have no budgetary constrictions after winning these last 2 World Series. So we can go out and spend for the first time ever, freely. Roger Calderon, 40 plus saves the last 2 years. However, I just want I'm probably going to kick him to the bullpen and get a new closer, I think. I just think his skill set is awesome, but just the lack of swing and miss, the Marlboro Man kind of moniker. It's cool, it works, but doesn't work too great. Drew Romo is a free agent. I don't plan on bringing him back, most likely. He did have by far his best season this year with a 4-WAR season. But can he replicate that? I mean, he's a 265 hitter. I had easily the best year of his career with us at 117 games. Can we get that production elsewhere, though? We do have Mark Winchester, who is a better hitter overall. And then defensively, Josh Rubel, we think can get there. He's not quite there yet. We still have Ralphie Velasquez, but it might be time to kind of cut him loose. He just hasn't really figured it out in 170 games with us. West on the farm, David Bike is all right. Cole Spanos is all right. But how much longer can we, maybe a catcher or something. It's a little bit cheaper. We'll see what Romo wants. But I do anticipate Josh Rubel being the guy soon, and at least splitting time with Mark Winchester and really going like that. First base is locked down. We have Gorman as our DH, Domine as our first baseman, and then Tyrone Gehringer is just our bench bat. I think this is a great mix. And then these guys, really, it's going to take a little while for them to be pushing. So we still have a couple years on Gorman's contract, and we still have a bunch of years on Domine's contract. So we will just leave it be at first base. Nothing really there. Second base, also, again, Adael Amador, worth all $22 million he'll be getting until 2036. And then Osiris Johnson's going to be our new utility guy off the bench with 3 more years of cheap control. Juan Guerrero, he's probably going to be cut just because he's an ARB now and kind of just changing of the guard. Osiris Johnson, just a better player overall at this stage anyway. Derek Connolly, our top second base prospect with DeAndre Hiller behind him. And again, I think we have some more incoming guys as well. Third base, Sterling Thompson. It's going to be interesting. $2.3 million. He was a Super 2. So he gets arbitration again. Had a fine year with us. However, we're going to be seeing what we're going to be doing. We have some guys here ready to go. Lewis Pittman, William Kang are major league ready probably right now, if not one more year. Emery Morales is our top prospect at third base. He's going to be coming in shortly. And then we're actually going to look at Jazz Chisholm for third base. If you look, yes, a couple more years on this contract. He's going 32. Do we want him out there playing the outfield so much? Also, you got Troy Wood. We're going to bring up Enrique Benitez. Stephen Kwan probably going to be gone. And then we have Nolan Jones in the outfield. Third base is a guy where both these guys can go play third base and probably are better at third base than their current positions. So what does that mean for Sterling Thompson, who might also be better in the outfield right now? I don't know. We'll be checking, we'll be seeing, we'll be trying to piece this team together as best as we possibly can. But Sterling Thompson could be a sneaky guy on the block to make room for Troy Wood, Enrique Benitez, and then one of Jones or Jazz Chisholm in the outfield, just depending on what we want to do. Shortstop, it's going to be Tovar for the next 3 seasons. Did not have a great regular season this year and really hasn't had a fantastic one since 2028. However, what he did in World Series, it's insanity. Khalil Watson, that experiment is running out of time. Robert Cairo, however, has just been an absolute pleasure to watch develop over the last couple of years. And then we got Howard Madrigal as well. This is a decent shortstop crop. And then once Tovar's gone, I think we're going to have a fine replacement. And the rest of the outfield, Christian Nam, our best outfielder there. Not really much of high-level prospects in the outfield. But that's just kind of what we got. So we're going to have to redo the bullpen. Starting rotation is fine. And then what is our third base and corner outfield situations? Other than that, this team is roaring, ready to go. So without further ado, let's start this off season. Looking at some retired players, Luis Castillo, a guy that he is going to retire, ends up with under 150 career wins. Clay Holmes, another guy that decides to hang it up. David Bednar, he goes at 36 years old after giving up the walk-off home run to lose the World Series. Finishes with 309 saves. He was a pretty good pitcher, pretty good player. However, he decides to go at the age of 36. P. Fairbanks and Aaron Nola, two guys that Philadelphia has had for the last couple of years. Fairbanks 200 saves, and Aaron Nola just over 180 career wins. A sneaky, really good career for Aaron Nola. Lucas Giolito, he as well just never was the same after that Tommy John in 2024, and did eclipse 100 wins. However, a lot of those coming in the bullpen in 2028, and then not really doing anything after that. Hasn't pitched in the league in a little bit. Nestor Cortez, another guy who will be gone. Brusdar Graterol at just 32 years old. And he's had a really fine career, but he's just done for whatever reason. Walker Buehler, he's also done. Jose Barrios, also gone. Jose Altuve, a Hall of Famer. Any way you slice it and or dice it, finishes with a career WAR of 70.5. Full-time Astro, kind of hung around the last couple of years, but nothing really doing for him. Archie Bradley, a triple in the playoffs. You don't really see relief pitchers hit in the playoffs. Former friend of the program, Bobby Dahlbeck, his last innings in the major leagues almost 6 years ago, came with us in 2025. 6 home runs. We traded for him in 2024. Our first ever trade we made, and he just never figured it out. Bobby Dahlbeck is hanging it up. Ty France, a name that we recognize. Who else? Kendall Graveman, Randall Grichuk, Liam Hendricks. I think Randall Grichuk played for the Rockies. He did in 2022 and 2023. He played for the Rockies. Kike Hernandez, he is calling it a career. A couple guys that had some playing time here and there in the major leagues, but nothing too crazy. Again, just trying. Max Muncy, it's a decent one. Ended up with almost 300 career home runs. And after the start to his career, and then the revitalization by the Dodgers, just out of nowhere. Really good career for Max Muncy. Joe Musgrove, Herman Marquez, former Colorado Rocky, missed all of 2024, came out of the bullpen mostly in 2025. Just never was the same after that shoulder injury or arm injury, whatever it was, that basically cut him short. He had 6 years where he was okay, and that's about as good as you're going to get Coors Field. But he finally calls it a career, one of the pillars when I took over. Fortunately, it just never really was the same. Who else is retiring? Scott, I guess, Kodai Senga, he hangs it up. Christian Walker, he's finally out of our sights again. Signed this big deal with the Diamondbacks and just didn't really age well. Zach Wheeler, another guy who is hanging up, had a really good career, almost 150 wins for him. Brandon Woodruff and Masataka Yoshida as well hanging up, and that will be it for the retirements. And like I mentioned, Jose Altuve, Hall of Famer. Look at these stats. He just is. Whatever you think about him and the Astros during that time, Hall of Fame. Okay, so as we said before, here are our free agents. Nolan Jones is a top priority. We'll be giving him this deal right here, 5 years, $113 million, pays him about $22 million per year. I like it. Hopefully he signs that. We're also going to tender him the qualifying offer, just in case. We're going to bump up this deal to a smooth $120 million, $24 million a year for 5 years. Hopefully that is good enough. We'll be testing his, looking at his market. This is something that we will not let slip through our hands. Gregory Santos wants 5 years, $3 million per year. I'd be pretty... Also, I like how he likes team quality contender. He's not happy. He just won a World Series with us, dude. We'll probably let go to the market with that. Bo Brisky. We'll probably also go to free agent market for that. Stephen Kwan, we are going to be letting go. He was awesome for his 3 years here in Colorado. Amassed about 15 WAR, probably more than that. Probably closer to 16, 17. But yeah, we have guys. He's been declining. We have guys that have similar skill sets that are going to be cheaper. And it's just time to move on for Stephen Kwan. Drew Romo wants about $8 million a year. I will see. We might revisit this maybe on a shorter deal for like 3 years, 2 years. Looks like he'd be fine with just because of that 1 year. But we're going to let him test. Ryan Helsley, $2 million, 36. We'll let these relievers test. So really, we're going to send Nolan Jones a contract and see what happens. Here is the free agency class, and oh boy, is it stacked. Starting pitchers, again, we're not going to be in this market. We have guys like Paul Skeens, Jackson Jobe, Ricky Tiedemann, and Mackenzie Gore, and only a couple of them, the qualifying offer would extend to them. So Jackson Jobe you can get with no draft pick loss. This is what he's done in Detroit over the last few years. Still raw. Hasn't really had those great ERA years. But, guy has masked a little bit of WAR. Tiedemann, Gore, again. Luis Garcia, David Peterson. You have some good guys here. If you wanted to go get a Paul Skeens, you're looking at $40 million a year for him. So good luck to whoever wins the Paul Skeens sweepstakes. Here in the reliever market, a lot of our guys are here at the top. Maybe we just bring them back just due to familiarity, but we have some other guys here and there that if we lose out on one or two, I feel like we'll be able to rebuild this bullpen pretty nicely. So we will keep an eye on there. We'll definitely be getting a couple of guys out there. Closer market, Tanner Scott, finally his big deal with the Texas Rangers is done. He did very, very well for himself, getting a whole bunch of these 334 saves with Texas and just having dominant season after dominant season with these good, for a reliever, these are some pretty good WAR totals as well. So maybe Tanner Scott's a guy that we dip our toes into. We do want a high-level closer just because I just feel like that skill set would be different. Ron Marinaccio, Felix Bautista, and Bryce Wilson also in the closer market, but really it's relievers. Catchers, we have some that are better than Drew Romo. Drew Romo might be like the 10th, 11th best catcher right now, which A, helps for our market. Maybe we can get him a little bit cheaper if we decide to bring him back. But also B, we have some guys that are out here that can do some work. Blake Sable will be a decent guy. Going to be pretty cheap, I would assume. Hits really well against righties, while Mark Winchester hits really well against lefties. Also a big utility guy. If you want him, he's going to cost a little bit more than Romo, so that's probably off of the table. Samuel Basayo is your big fish here. He's looking to get a deal that's pretty hefty, but at 26 years old, that's fine. Kyle Teal as well, 31 home runs a year ago. He's looking for about $23 million a year. So do with that what you will. Alejandro Kirk and Tyler Stevenson out there as well. Christian Encarnacion Strange is your top dog in the first baseman market. A weaker first base market. Yanquiel Fernandez, we got rid of him at the right time, it seems. He would not be too much to bring back, but his 1 year in New York did not go the way you would have thought it. Just, drops down to like his first real second full season in terms of like how low the OPS was. So if we wanted Yanquiel Fernandez, it's only going to be about $8 million a year, but we're probably let Yanquiel be Yanquiel somewhere else. Just because he can't really hit lefties. And older Matt Olson, older Pete Alonso. It looks like just like an older class here. Second base, you have Andres Jimenez at the top. He's more of a fielder. And then Willie Castro, Jacob Wilson as well here. Vaughn Grissom, finishing out his contract with the Red Sox, doing all right. A decent class here at second base, nothing too crazy. Third base, you have a couple of big fish here: Noelvi Marte, Marco Luciano, and Brian Hayes. Please just leave me alone. Brian Hayes, please just leave me alone. I'm asking very politely. I'm asking super politely. And then some other really good players. This is a very decent free agent class. The shortstops, however, they're young, they're good. This is a good class. Tamar Johnson, Colson Montgomery, Carson Williams, and Brooks Lee all headline it. Ceddanne Rafaela, former friend of the program, made that trade with Boston. And having 26 home runs with Seattle in 2029, and then just a wild outlier year. He never really got, that's his first season there, but can field the hell out of every position he plays. Someone's going to get a good player there. Brady House as well in that mix, and then it kind of falls off towards the end there. Outfielders, Wyatt Langford is interesting. Did not have a great year this year. Definitely a down year. 42 home runs to 25 home runs. So that 42 home run season looking more like an outlier. But he's a guy that puts up a good amount of WAR. He played the field for the first time this year. He's not bad out there. Maybe Wyatt Langford is a guy that maybe we get into this race at $18 million a year. That's not bad. I think that bat plays tremendously well. I don't know. This is a guy to look out. Maybe this is the splash we need. Also in the outfield's Lane Thomas, Owen Casey, and then look down here to our boyfriend Zach Veen. Almost said Zach Levine. Good first year in Miami, and then was kind of put onto the bench in more platoon role, maybe injured here in the second year. But he is out and ready for the taking, whoever would line him. Max Clark, probably the best player in baseball, 26 years old. Yeah. This kid is a stud. Got traded to Cincinnati and just absolute banger after banger season. 7 WAR season last year. Already 30 amassed WAR in 6 seasons. He's a 5 WAR guy every season. You also have guys like Dylan Cruz, who's one of the top bats in the game. 37 home runs last year. He had a 9 WAR season. He's had 40 WAR in 6 seasons. A little bit farther ahead of Max Clark. Jackson Merrill, also an absolute stud, and he had a 6 WAR season this year. Jason Dominguez, he's great. Yeah, no, this is a really good outfielder class. Maybe we get into one of these races. If you want Max Clark, you're looking at $40 million a year. If you want Dylan Cruz, you're looking at $40 million a year. You want Jackson Merrill, you're working at $30 million a year. So there's the discrepancy there. Chase DeLauder, also one of the best bats out there. Yeah, he's an absolute stud muffin as well. 26 WAR in just about not even 1,000 games yet. Nolan Jones, we have our offer out there. Qualifying offer has been made. Jesus Sanchez, Trent Grisham. So those are your top dogs. That is your free agent market. Let's go make some moves. I will let you know who we're going after. And we'll be back in just a moment. So, as of right now, here are the offers we have put out. Nolan Jones, Wyatt Langford. Yes, we're going to enter the Wyatt Langford sweepstakes. Feel like this bat is just too good to pass up. I think he'll be fine in a corner outfield spot. Coming off a down year, we get him for a little bit cheaper. We have him a 6-year deal with the last year being a player option. We've also thrown out an offer to Tanner Scott, Gregory Santos, Bo Brisky, and Drew Romo. So a lot of these are just 1-year deals, maybe 2-year deals in some cases. We got Langford and Jones on the longer deals. Hopefully these guys sign right now. Langford's the only other one with a little bit of a market. Santos has a little bit of a market. Might be taking a different deal because they're giving him a little bit more years. But if this is the free agency we have with the roster we already have, we'll be making some trades as well. I'm very happy with this. I think this is a repeatable championship level roster. Let's see what it comes out to. But right now, that's the offers we have on the table, and we'll check back in once people start signing. Also, some of the big fish here, the deals on the table. Max Clark has a larger market. Paul Skeens is getting. Imagine if they get Skeens and Clark the Reds do, because they both have deals out there. Brooks Lee right now, and it looks like just those guys with some substantial offers. Obviously, once these top guys start coming off the board, we will be checking in and seeing where they land. We ended up getting Tanner Scott to be our closer. Just an absolute phenomenal run. 1 year for the 36-year-old. If this goes south, we'll be able to get another closer. But I love this move for us. 1 year deal. 1 year deals very rarely are ever bad for you. So we end up getting Tanner Scott. Also checking in on some of the other offers, it looks like we ended up securing Drew Romo. So we do have Drew Romo on a 1 year, $8 million deal, kind of a prove-it year for his age 29 season. Hopefully he can redo this, but also I think this is just a time bomb until we see what Josh Rubel does. Most likely be trading Ralphie Velasquez, but we'll get to those trades when we get to those trades in the winter meetings coming up. But we do end up signing Drew Romo, so there is that. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him Wyatt Langford to Colorado. 6 years, $19 million per year, a big $114 million deal. We are looking scary. It's not often the world champions go out and go get better, and I think the world champions just went out and got better. All right, so some of these other signings coming out. It's taking a while, about a month in free agency right now. Noelvi Marte is going to the Pittsburgh Pirates on a 6-year, $93 million deal. Dylan Cruz is signing to the San Francisco Giants, 7 years, $248 million, $35 million a year for Dylan Cruz. Brooks Lee goes to the Angels, a big 8-year, $287 million deal. This is big for the Angels, another about $36 million per year for one of the premier shortstops in the game. Max Clark also to the Angels. The Angels going out and spending. They got Evan Carter a season ago. Now they add two of the other best players. And 10 years, $389 million. The Halos are out here spending moolah. Kyle Teel to the Diamondbacks. Looks like everyone just got together here in the end of November and decided that they're going to sign right before Thanksgiving. Kyle Teel going to the Diamondbacks, so the Diamondbacks continue to spend, continue to get stronger, and he's matched up with Brian Bayo, a guy he caught for a few years in Boston. That was crazy. Checking in on our free agent offers as well. Nolan Jones, 10. Still no one on him yet. However, we did get a notification that Gregory Santos is probably going to be taking a different deal. So we're going to look back in the reliever market, see if we can get somebody else here. But yeah, honestly, it might be Nate Pearson. I think I like this skill set enough. I think I'm going to go after Pearson. I think that if we give him a 2-year deal, he's not going to cost a whole bunch. Give him 2 years, $2 million. We'll see if that blows everyone else out of the water. I think for talent combined with money, this is probably one of the best deals remaining in the free agency market. Skeens is going to the Cardinals, a team that we weren't even really on his that wasn't really on his radar when we last checked. He is going to St. Louis, stays in the NL Central, just wears a different uniform. That's big. Right here's we're turning into December here. Mar Johnson to the Atlanta Braves, 6-year deal, under $100 million, and it's wild to get that kind of deal for a shortstop who hit 30 home runs in this season. Wild how this market has played out for Tamar Johnson. Andres Jimenez is going to the Red Sox on a cheaper deal. I mean, 4 years, $46 million, 21 home runs, 90 RBI, plays great defense. We'll see where they end up putting him around the infield, but he's a really good player. All right, here's the draft lottery screen. Again, we don't really have any need for the draft lottery anymore. Remember, draft lottery is one of the most fun times in our season. Yeah, now here it is. Cardinals jump out to get the number 1 overall pick. The best player in the league in Paul Skeens. They get the number 1 overall pick. Kansas City jumps up 6 spots. Yankees drop down 3. And that was the biggest faller. But for the most part, everything kind of stays the same. And there we are at number 30 this year with the 89 wins and the World Series ring to prove it. Chase the Lauder as we hit the winter meetings. He goes to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay filing out some money, 8 years, $203 million on the deal. Samuel Basallo, he goes to the Yankees, so the AL East getting a little stronger here. Basallo was already in the AL East, but 7 years, $156 million to be the backstop for the New York Yankees. Also, Nolan Jones has a market, and we will going to be beating this deal by the Nationals. We have to. So we are going to go still to 5 years, and we are going to not max this out, but again, we have the checkbooks out. We are able to do this. $133 million for 5 years. Still wants the Nationals will tinker with this a little bit, but hopefully Nolan Jones stays home. We're going to make a trade with the Baltimore Orioles here. We're going to give up Brandon Barrea. He ended up going on arbitration. I think Henry Manuel and Fernando Benitez can do the same thing that he does and will be cheaper. It's kind of the things, if you're not a long-term piece and you go to arbitration, that's kind of, you get 3 years with us and then we're moving on. That's kind of the philosophy here. We have plenty of pitching depth. We're going to get Milt Rios, the third baseman. Good contact, great plate skills, and also a very athletic player as well. And we are going to be sending him to taking him from the Baltimore Orioles. They add to a pitching rotation that could use a Brandon Barrera. So he ends up sliding in as one of their top guys. We're going to make that trade. Our second trade we're going to make is with the Atlanta Braves. We're going to get Alfredo Pereira. He's an outfielder for the Braves. Again, this is a team that kind of wants to stay in contention here. They're going to add a catcher to their mix. Better, and Velasquez is going to shape in as the best catcher as of right now. Again, Velasquez is kind of really good fielder. Has never really quite made it with our teams. But we'll see if a change of scenery will be it. And Pereira adds to our outfield depth. Adds a guy who's major league ready. It's the guy that if someone gets hurt, we have a couple injuries, he can come up. We'd probably keep him in the minor leagues if we can. But a guy that is closer, so we kind of regain this value here. We make that trade with Atlanta. 2-for-1 deal here coming up. Khalil Watson is going to go to the Chicago White Sox for Alvin Walter, an 18-year-old starting pitcher from Mexico. We like kind of what he can be molded into. And then Derek Brasheen, this is a guy that we were scouting a few years ago. Very high athlete in center field, close to being major league ready. We like this deal. The White Sox get a shortstop. We get some more depth in places we like to have depth at. We're going to make this a done deal, and that's probably going to be it for trades we make right now. I lied. We're going to trade Benny Montgomery next. We'll see where he goes in just a moment. And here's where we're going to send Montgomery to. We're going to get Dante Velez from the Marlins, a second baseman, kind of all-around bat, better fielder, better athlete, just to add for depth. Big price here is Aldo Lozano. We're in this situation where we can go out and get some good relievers. In his first year, Miami, a 4.06 ERA. They're selling high, getting a center fielder to add to an outfield that's kind of got decimated by free agency and people leaving. But they do have a really good team still. The Marlins are a team that plays tough. They have a really good pitching rotation, really good infield. So adding a center fielder with some value like Montgomery, good fielder, good athlete, decent bat, especially against lefties. I think this is a fair trade for both sides. And that, I believe, will be it with our trades for this offseason, at least for the moment. Profile draft, here's how we did. We did not make a selection. Sean Burke goes to the Yankees. Luis de Avila goes to the Blue Jays. Cy Ziegler goes to the Tigers. And then a selection after us, Mark Marbury, our guy, goes to Tampa Bay. So we are out on Mark Marbury. He is now with Tampa Bay Rays. I don't think that kills us too much, but this is a guy that probably could have cracked the rotation this year or cracked the pitching lineup this year if he pitched well or something happened. So kind of sucks for him to go, but 37 control, we're not really too crazy about losing him. Marco Luciano to the Desert. So stays in division, goes to the Diamondbacks, just continue to add players and add talent. Jackson Jobe is going to the Houston Astros 6-year deal for under $100 million. I think it's a pretty good get. That's going to be a contract that ages well, I believe. Free agents still out here. We're just checking on the top guys, nothing crazy. Jackson Merrill, his market starting to heat up a little bit better. Nolan Jones, if you see here, it looks like a three-way tie. We have a 6-year offer for $155 million. Right now, I guess Washington's still the favorite, but now Cincinnati is in there as well. Washington is closer to home. It might be wants to retire at home, won 2 World Series with us. I would hate to lose him, though. I really do not want to face that reality. But we will see. We will see what happens. But right now, Nolan Jones hopefully comes back home to Colorado. Tiedemann getting some offers. Colson Montgomery starting to pick up deals over $100 million. And that's about that. Everything else is kind of, good starters and depth here and there. So not too many big guys left to go. And here it is. Nolan Jones is going to the Nationals. 5 years, $132 million. We offered him more. We offered him more years. Deal I should have got done before we even got to free agency. This is awful. This sucks. We just lost the core of our team. This is big. God damn it. Colson Montgomery also goes to Pittsburgh. 6 years, 106. Mike Soroka to the Cardinals, 2 years, 28. Tiedemann to the Twins. A lot of these guys moving off the board. All right, let's check our roster, see what we can do, see if there's a pivot somewhere. The easiest answer here is we keep Sherlin Thompson at third base. We move Wyatt Langford to right field. And we kind of roll like that. Langford, Chisholm, Troy Wood, Benitez. It's kind of your 4 outfielders. Trying to make room for both Wood and Benitez here or there. But for the most part, that's what we kind of go. If you look at the free agent market, Jackson Merrill's still there. Now, this will cost more than it would have cost to keep Nolan Jones. Merrill does have more positional flexibility, can play the outfield and the infield for the most part. A really, really, really good bat. This is a guy that has proven to be a really good player over his tenure with San Diego. Just 27 years old. This makes a lot of sense to go out if you want to get into this race. However, it is about $30 million a year to get in there, and even then, it's going to be well more than that. Right now, he's fielding offers 7,182. If we try to go there, it's under. So we can do a 7-year deal for about 200. Adds a center fielder, probably with that speed in our outfield, probably more of a corner guy. Then maybe back in the infield once Ezekiel Tovar moves on. Do we want to do this? Or do we just kind of roll what we have? I'm not quite sure. This is just a big, big, big blow to us. Lane Thomas can also come in and provide some relief. Definitely a lot cheaper. Jason Dominguez, kind of that middle ground, young and good, more expensive than Thomas, but not quite the same level as Jackson Merrill, but also not the same player as Jackson Merrill. So there's that. Do we go and get one of these third basemen? Move on? Do we look at the trade market? I'm not quite sure. All I know is my heart is very, very sad. Joseph Ortiz, to the Giants, 3 years, $37 million. Jackson Merrill to the Blue Jays. We did have an offer for him. He chose to go to Toronto. We offered the same amount of years and more money. It's brutal. David Garcia to the Diamondbacks. And really what happened here with the Jackson Merrill signing, I believe we signed a minor league free agent in that time. And in that time, we hit our roster limit, and Merrill was ready to make a decision. We had to take the offer off, and he didn't give us a chance to rebuttal. And we would have just gave him that same deal. Thought process was, right now, defensively, I don't believe Enrique Benitez is ready. Look at that fielding. I just don't think that's good to have in center field. Give him one more year, probably have him on the bench, be a bench bat, gets a taste, cup of tea with us. Gives us Another year or two of Tovar. When he goes, move Merrill to shortstop. Now it's probably Jazz Chisholm in center field, Troy Wood starting with Wyatt Langford. Maybe there's a trade out there we can make, but Jackson Merrill was kind of the guy that I wanted. I thought would have been perfect for us. Let's not give up quite yet. Let's go see what we have going on. But definitely, it was starting off so well, and then all of a sudden, it just wasn't. Brian Hayes to the Athletics. It's a pretty decent move. He finally goes away from us, so we only have to see him like 3-4 times a year max. Brady House to the Giants. A lot of these guys are starting to sign here late. Lane Thomas to the Reds on a 1-year deal. Jacob Wilson on a 5-year deal to the White Sox, which is interesting. Brendan Donovan to the Guardians on a 1-year deal. Alex Verdugo to the Orioles on a 1-year deal. That didn't do it for the offseason. It's a new dawn. It's a different age. We ended up not really making a move. So Chisholm most likely going to center field. It's a different team. And I knew it was going to be a different team, but I didn't think it was going to be a different team like this. We'll see you next time with the revamped Colorado Rockies. It's a new age in Colorado. We'll see if it's for the better or not.